Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of TechGig, and I welcome you all to today's panel discussion on empowering developers to build enterprise solutions. I'm your host, Khushi, and I'm delighted to have all of you with us today. As enterprise systems become more complex and interconnected, developers are no longer just writing code, they're shaping business solutions. So, this panel discussion brings together industry leaders to explore how organizations can empower developers to take on this expanded role. We will explore the modern developer tooling that's accelerating enterprise builds from cloud native platforms to low code accelerators. We will also look at the evolving role of developers as they shift from feature development to full solution ownership, taking on responsibilities that span architecture, performance, and security. And with AI and automation becoming central to modern tech stacks, we will discuss how developers can begin integrating intelligent capabilities into enterprise applications without needing deep data science backgrounds. So let's get into an insightful conversation that explores how today's developers can move beyond the code to become strategic problem solvers, building scalable, AI-powered, and future-ready enterprise solutions. And now it's finally time to welcome our distinguished speakers for this panel discussion. Mr. AmitKumar Shrivastava, Global Fujitsu Distinguished Engineer at Fujitsu. Ms. Manisha Banthia, Vice President and Expert Engineer, Data and Analytics at Fiserv. Mr. Prakash Narayanan, Head of Intelligent Automation at Cyient. And Ms. Sangeetha Yanamandra, Vice President, Software Engineering, Research and Development at OpenText. I feel truly honored to have all of you join us for today's panel discussion. Your presence here reflects not just your commitment to staying at the forefront of technological innovations, but also your passion for learning, sharing, and shaping the future of our industry. It's such a privilege to host such an esteemed audience, and I'm confident that today's exchange of ideas will be both insightful and inspiring for all of us. It's so great to have all of you here.
Thank you, Khushi.
Further, I'd like to mention that this session is scheduled for 60 minutes. The first 45 minutes will feature insights and discussions from our guest speakers. And the final 10 minutes will be open for questionnaire. So feel free to drop your questions anytime in the questionnaire window. And now, without further ado, let's get started. So firstly, to kick things off, I would like to ask that when we talk about empowering developers today, what does that really mean to all of you? What has changed in the recent years? So Manisha, I would like to know your views on this.
Yeah, I'll start, Khushi, with where you started. I've not really been a developer, right? I've been more in the data and AI space. And when you just said, right, the developers of today are not just writing code, but they are, I wrote it down, shaping business solutions, right? And that is what has completely changed. I think, the developers I work with, in our organization are completely looking at things differently now. They look at, for them, data is everywhere right now. I think it is not our traditional data sources that we used to have, right? It is any data now that is useful. And, currently, we see developers, for example, it's not just business data or user data, but they're also looking, as they're designing their applications, they're looking at user behavior, they're looking at the digital, access data, they're looking at system behavior, there's system telemetry, there's clickstream data, there's log streams, Splunk, whatnot, right? So it's a completely new form of data. And with that data, that is how the developers today are empowered, I think. So that's what I see, that has changed in the recent years.
Absolutely, Manisha. Moving forward, Prakash, what are your views on this?
Yeah, sure. See, I'm heading the intelligent automation. I've been in this intelligent automation space for the last 10 plus years. So what I have seen over the decade is that now automation is becoming mainstream, right? It becomes a core part of the enterprise tech stacks. So what is happening? The role of the developer is evolving. It has evolved actually dramatically, and it is continuously evolving further. So to put it simply, I would say developers are no longer just coders. They are becoming solution owners, in some cases automation architects, and they are also becoming very significantly value enablers.
Yeah.
So based on all these things, what I see is that there is a clear shift from future development to solution ownership. They are not just 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they were fully focusing only on coding and testing and unit testing and deployment, support and everything. But now they are not just building the modules, they are responsible for end-to-end outcomes, like be it performance of the code, of the solution, of the scalability of the solution, the automation and business value that it is bringing to the organization. So that's how I see the evolvement of the developers' role today. So they also nowadays required to think like product owners, not just being a development engineer. And also now you can see the automation part of it. It is now baked into the SDLC itself, right? So we see developers embedding the bots. They can auto deploy the pipelines, CI/CD pipelines, alert systems, workflow triggers, everything they can embed into the overall solution. So they can use UiPath or Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, Power Automate, GitHub Actions. Any of these low-code application development tools now makes things easier. They can, with the drag and drop on building the logic, they can embed any type of modules they want to be part of a coherent overall solution. So that's what I would my take on this.
Right, Prakash. You were absolutely, all of these pointers are something that we're going to look forward to in depth in this panel discussion itself. So, Sangeetha, I would like to know your perspective on this.
Yeah, I would echo Manisha, Prakash, and Amit, what they have shared. So, in fact, I started my journey as a developer. I'm very passionate about it. Okay, so developers today, I feel like they're highly passionate and they are keen to know the purpose, like whatever they're trying to do. In fact, they're even keen to make an impact. Okay, so and feel that they have influence on whatever they have delivered. So in my view, what I feel is providing tools, flexibility, and a good ecosystem for developers to experiment and build the solution that brings the business value to the customer. Okay, so these are very key for empowering the developers.
Right, Sangeetha. So great perspective from all of you. And it's clear that the developer's role today is more strategic than ever before. So now it's time that we know the deeper into these tools that are actually powering this transformation. So moving forward, Amit, I would like to ask you that what do you think are some of the latest tools or technologies you see are helping developers build the enterprise solutions faster and better?
Thanks, Lucy. I'm audible now?
Yeah, completely.
Okay. I think if so, first of all, I'm not a developer as such. I'm an AI engineer, and my entire background is into AI. But I do work with developers, and I also have some development background, but I'm more from an AI mindset. So I can see like how developers are evolving right now. I'm seeing developers utilizing tools like GitHub Copilot, Replit, and then other coding agents. They are trying to utilize those tools to improve their productivity. At the same time, now they are equipped to utilize low code, no code kind of platform. They know how to basically utilize AI services to improve their productivity and basically, improve their customer experiences as well. So I think these are some of the top tools, or maybe top focus area. What I am seeing from a developer perspective, like they want to quickly basically try something and create prototype, or maybe they want to fix something very quickly. And in fact, if I just add one more point apart from those SDLC accelerator, apart from that, I am also observing that these developers are very much active on open source community. Right now, open source communities, they are providing tools and technology to try and test easily and create rapid prototypes. So developers are also learning that. because they're coming from a development background, they know how to utilize API, how to do integration, how to basically create some software system, or how to integrate some sort of AI API into their entire software system, or maybe into their software system as such. So I see that this is quite increasing. I also see that they are more focused towards some of the IDs where more plugins are available, like they can play with those AI plugins and try to see how it is actually improving their coding experience, and then ultimately the innovation part around it. So I see that these kind of tools are really important. And also, for an example, if somebody wants to create a design document, right? And if you have to review design document and you are a developer and you have to do it for something, for some of your work. So for that kind of work also, I am seeing that developers are utilizing AI tools to improve their productivity, or maybe cut that time, cut their manual effort. In fact, fixing code, bug, and right now people are talking about modernization as such. So if you want to see the entire picture of your software, I think those tools are also helping developers, and those developers are learning how to utilize those tools. What I want to say basically, right now, if developers are upskilled and they know how to utilize those tools, that's very important, or that's very useful for them as well for organization. In fact, if you see these days, the generative AI, or maybe the agentic AI, you do not need to be a data scientist to utilize those tools, right? In fact, you just need to know how to utilize APIs and work on that. In fact, let's say if you want to work on agentic AI, and generative AI could be a tool within the agentic AI system. And also, you can write some sort of roles and tasks within that agentic AI system. In fact, let's say if you are not a developer, for an example, or if you are a very new one, still learning how to basically navigate in that software complexity, and you want to at least contribute within your team. So you can write correct tasks, correct roles and prompts, and then at least get into the integration part of the agentic AI system within your software system. Also, the generative AI part, if you want to use it separately and not along with the agentic AI system. So that's also possible. RAG is something very important, as we are observing. Almost, every organizations, people are trying to utilize RAG for the context-aware kind of search within their knowledge database. When I say knowledge database, specifically, I'm talking about the code base here. Could be into the documentation, the wiki part, or the Slack, or wherever your data is basically dispersed. So how developers are actually utilizing it, it's also very interesting to understand, because it's actually cutting a lot of manual effort and time. And as I mentioned, the modernization part, let me just reiterate again, that's very important. Like, if you have a tool, or if you know how to utilize the tool and scan the entire code base, generate design document, generate the process flow, understand the functions, and then basically you can try to modernize your system as well. So I think developers are now utilizing specific kind of tools for specific kind of work. But the core part is that, are they willing to upskill themselves? And I feel they are willing to do so. Even organization is pushing developers to upskill, and we are all seeing that, and this is also evident. I think in one of the newspaper, in one of the article I have written, like probably 3 or 4 months back, like developers will maybe agentic AI will bring developers back into the fashion, or specifically the word was software engineering back into the fashion, because everybody wants to try new thing, right? And in fact, even if you do not want to try, by default, if within your IDE it's getting integrated, or within whatever you are utilizing as a tool, AI is getting integrated. Right now, it seems that it's an additional part, or it's an added entity within your software or within your tool. But possibly after a few years, you will see that this is actually, nobody is going to ask like how this tool is functioning, because that AI will be integrated in a such a way that people will be used to it, and there is no question going back and thinking that whether this is a new function or this is an integrated function within the software. So I feel that now people are accepting it, and developers are probably one of few who are at the forefront of accepting AI and trying it.
Right, Amit. And this is such an insightful overview, and it's so fascinating to see that how much the modern developer toolkit has evolved. So now let's move to a critical layer in that stack, which is data. So, Manisha, I would like to ask you that as you see that data is at the core of most enterprise solutions today, how can developers be encouraged to think more data first while building?
Absolutely. So, the even to add to Amit's, right, the mindset is changing, and the data first mindset needs to come in. So before you develop something, you should wear the data hat as well, right? And like I said earlier, you should recognize that all the data, be it structured or be it unstructured data in the form of documents, text, whether it is direct data or you have built it yourself, you've transformed to create more value. All of this data is valuable. So where the data had the data first mindset, uh, and look beyond conventional data sources like you have business data or your user data. You should start to look at how users are using your application, right? Whatever you have developed, how is it being used? So you should tap into behavioral signals. You should look at telemetry, clickstream data, and system logs. And every layer, right? Every layer of the stack produces data. So whatever you build in steps, when users use it in steps, there is data produced, and that data can be harnessed to drive smarter decisions. And therefore the data is first approach, right? So think how you will generate this data, and then how you can also use the data to make a better software that you're building. We've started applying that in Fiserv as well. So for example, we think across the SDLC, across the software development lifecycle, we figured out where AI can be used. For example, we use the behavioral data, for example, the clickstream data or the behavioral data, to basically create more intelligent workflows. So if, for example, a user moves from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, to get to, let's say, something like a step 5, why can't we do a step 1 to step 5, in terms of their behavior of usage of our application? So how you can start applying all of that data, to generate more intelligent workflows, or some of the things that you could apply, again using data, is that you could build models that build that somehow help you build a stronger system by predicting the system stability. How can you optimize performance of your application, right? So here again, as you build your application, think of data as a foundational element for system performance. So you can start capturing all of that data and have a way to read that data and start applying it. And don't treat it as an afterthought that my application was great, and then I think about how to read how the application is being used, or how it is performing. So a lot of that should be baked into the initial process. And yes, I think once you do that, you build more powerful solutions. You've kind of set the stage, right, for continuous improvement and innovation, right, as you learn from your data. So build your solutions with data. And just an example of not just data first, but a lot of what we build today also has peripheral components like reports, your end of day performance reports, etc. So think insights first also is what I feel, not just data first, but what are the kind of insights that you want to generate for your end user. So at Fiserv, for example, we have an index, right? Just like you have a stock index, you have the NSE, etc. We have an FSBI, which is the Small Business Index. And we build the index, and it kind of, we generate a huge report on the index saying which industry is performing. So it is an application where people log in and look at industry insights. But now everything is AI first, right? You don't even need to get into the to the index. You can ask questions to the index. So we have AI enabled. So when we built the product, the first stage of the product, it was all, you had to go and read a report. Now you ask questions, right? So the second phase of the report, to Amit's point, right, it is maybe agentic, but it is also having LLMs behind the scenes, and it gives you you don't even have to get into the report, you just ask a question, and a lot of people are doing that, I think. But as you design your applications, if you can also think insight first, I think we can go a long way. So I think we should encourage our teams, ourselves, to think data first as well as insights first.
Right, Manisha. And absolutely, because building with the data first lens is becoming a major differentiator nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of the evolving roles, let's now look at how automation is changing the developer landscape. For this, Prakash, I'd like to ask you that with automation becoming a key part of software development, how is the developer's role changing in large organizations?
Yeah, thank you, Kushi. It's a great question. See, automation itself is automating business processes, the manual tasks, the sequence of interactions between humans and software applications, right? But here, automating the automation is what is becoming the new normal. So you can automate the automation. That's where, like Amit and Manisha mentioned about generative AI, agentic AI, all those technologies. What they are doing is it's helping them automate the automation. So, for example, you take somebody is developing automation using UiPath or Power Automate or any type of low-code platform. The UiPath has the autopilot or copilot option. Microsoft has the copilot. GitHub copilot is there. So these tools already help in creating 70% of your code. However, it is not completely automated. You need a developer still to look at it for fix any errors there. Make sure it is in a good quality before you roll out. But it definitely saves a lot of significant amount of development time. And not only on the development side, it also does for the testing. You can automatically generate the test cases. You give a business requirements document, or you give the use cases, the user stories, and then automatically the LLMs can create the different test cases. Not only test cases, the test scripts as well. So the entire journey of the developer doing the coding, unit testing, system testing, and then deploying it in production, that part, the coding plus testing, is significantly accelerated, I would say, because of the use of these LLMs, agentic AIs and Gen AIs of the world. So that's the key benefit now for the developers. Their role is now changing because no longer they are, even though the developer can code it, it will going to take a lot of time. That time can be saved using the automation. You are automating the automation here. That's what I mean to say. Even the CI/CD pipelines in DevOps, you can automate a lot of the steps there. So that way, what I try to call here is the automating the automation has become the new normal now with the help of agentic and generative AI. So that's what it's not a traditional IT developer anymore. The developer is evolving into a solution architect with the help of all these low-code platforms assisted with agentic AI and generative AI. They are able to be a builder. They are able to be a thinker and enabler, looking at a cohesive overall solution, not just sticking to only the code. Because the code generation is now, even the Google CEO and others, Sam Altman for OpenAI, they are saying in the next 5 years, 80 to 90% of the code will be written by AI. So that doesn't mean the developer's role will completely go away. The developers will evolve into a higher. So they will look at overall business value they are bringing, what is the architecture and all those kind of decision making they will be involving, rather than just doing the coding, which they have been doing the last decade. So that's what I feel the developer's role is becoming, is evolving with the help of these AI-based tools. It is, of course, speeding up the software development lifecycle. You are able to deliver code much faster with higher quality with any lower errors. So that's the outcome of using these state-of-the-art AI-based tools.
Right, Prakash. And this is insightful as always, as automation certainly seems to be reshaping the responsibilities. So let's now explore the importance of ownership in development cycles. For this, Sangeetha, I'd like to ask you to tell me that in big product teams, how do you encourage developers to take the full ownership of what they have built, not just writing code, but thinking from end to end?
Yeah, it's an interesting aspect. So basically, I want to start from something from here. So typically, any product team, whether big or small, right, they're typically organized based on a specific product line or features or segments or modules, and they're typically cross-functional. And for collaboration within and across the teams, right? So we try to manage the development process using some of the methodologies like Agile, Lean, or Scrum. Okay, these are commonly used methodologies to drive the development. So if you notice here, so the way the teams are organized will be not by technical silos. Why I want to emphasize that is, yes, I've seen few areas, okay, where teams are organized still as, okay, this is a UI team, this is a backend team, this is a database team, this is a performance team. But now if we see, we try to organize teams around business outcome, business values, or customer segments. And typically these are all cross-functional. So the trend is something like it's no longer simply executing a project, but rather delivering an experience is what counts. So if we have to really look at all these aspects, right? So few things I try to focus that encourages developers to take full ownership are few things. Okay, so firstly, I believe in giving team accountability and encouraging the shared mindset. So typically it helps, the moment we give the team accountability, it helps to drive and inspire the entire team with a common vision and a common achievable goal. So if you go with a Scrum model, right? So we take it as a sprint goal or a sprint commitment. So typically it all starts with making the team accountable for the outcome of the module or the outcome of the sprint commitment, which means they are aligned and directly connected to the value they are creating within their respective sphere. And also, right, so this team accountability also promotes the shared mindset and also the transparency, because it is as a team, we need to move forward. So if there is a success, it is team success. So which means the transparency also plays an important role here. So basically, we encourage teams to use some tools like Confluence or Wiki to share their designs and for all the design reviews, or take the feedback on the design proposed for all the communication. And also tools like GitHub or Stash to easily discuss about the code changes with the team. And the main intent here is to fail faster so that we can move forward. And then every aspect of the SDLC, right? Whether it is a design, code, or everything need to be reviewed. And if we think beyond the review, right, it is basically we are trying to spread the code knowledge within the team. So to highlight or to keep it short, accountability is the first thing. And the second is, I also try to instill and encourage on ownership and co-founder mindset for every team. See, typically with ownership, it gives a feeling for every developer to feel the sense to put their creativity hat, right, to promote continuous thinking about the customer. And with co-founder mindset, it helps basically to shift our focus beyond creating innovation or creating implementation. We also think about how quickly we can take this innovation to the customers so that they can adopt. See, unless customers start using this feature or the innovation that we share or the piece of code that we share, right, we will not get that, satisfaction. So when the moment we have this co-founder mindset, right, so we also think about how quickly we can do and then how quickly we can take it to the customers. So basically, all this requires thinking from the customer persona. So everyone agreed to that, right? So it's not just about the technology that the developer need to focus. It is also about applying the problem solving mindset, right, to create the whole experience. So for instance, see, I can give an example like, see, in every product or in every application, the search is quite common, because now every application is dealing with tons and tons of data. That data can be the user behavior, or it can be the documents, or it can be anything. So the moment if we have to really implement the search, so typically we look at the keyword search. But taking a step ahead, right, even though that doesn't come as a requirement, if the search that we are doing is in a document repository, it always makes sense to give an advanced search in terms of giving a semantic search, right? Or search within the documents, results showing the keywords or the words within the document. So these are all some things, if we have to really think about, it is thinking beyond the requirements that are shared. So the co-founder mindset helps to think beyond the implementation, and it helps us to think what really is needed by the customer, okay, which will create real value to the customer. And it also helps to think some of the non-functional aspects. So like the performance. So typically implementing search is one thing, but if you see for any application or on any product, search is a key feature. We will see 90% of the users typically using search. So which means performance is a hidden requirement. And with the co-founder mindset and the ownership mindset, right, we typically do not look for a separate requirement about the performance. So this is inherently handled. Similarly, the security. See, we all know that we are now in a very highly regulated industry. So maintaining security standards, again, is an inherent requirement that we try to think about. And sometimes, see, we keep giving releases, right? So it can be monthly release, or it can be quarterly release, or it can be daily release. See, basically some of these releases, when we have to move from one version to the other version, so we need to think about the upgrade. So this is another scenario. So upgrade, if you see, like for most of the products, but typically at OpenText, for most of the products, we support both on-premise and the cloud. So the moment we look about the on-premise or even on the cloud, right? So upgrade is not just updating or moving the artifacts to the new version and adding some scripts for the database. It is beyond that. We really need to think about the environment the customer is on, the customizations the customer is using, the plugins and the add-ons the customer is using. So all these, if we have to think about, right? So we will not get all these in a simple requirement, but the thing that really creates or does the magic is the ownership and the co-founder mindset. So I really encourage on developing that. And the third one that is also I feel is important is fostering an environment that don't limit developers, okay, to specific technologies, because this is again very important. So I also saw one of the query. Basically developer not limiting to either UI or backend. So basically, the environment will elevate the developer to become a full stack specialist or a generalist, I would say. So playing the role of the engineer or an SDET or an SRE by leveraging the design principles or by leveraging some of the tools that are available to quickly test chunk of the code. And all this without creating or taking much stress, because the environment elevates the developers to learn and then think beyond the implementation and actually do all that is needed so that the best work goes to the customer and we can quickly experience the experience of the customer. So these are a few things I would say, Kushi, that are important.
Right, Sangeetha. And ownership does seem to be the secret sauce behind impactful product development. So that brings us to the challenge of balancing innovation with platform scalability. So, Amit, coming back to you from a global perspective, what do you think? How can companies ensure that their tech platforms allow developers to innovate while still keeping things scalable and consistent?
So what I feel that striking the balance between innovation and control requires architectural intent for sure. And as I think she was mentioning about the culture, so that is also very important into this aspect. Like culture maturity is very important. And now, what I say it as a platform first operating model. If you see it from an internal developer platform, like they are not only there to support the systems, but they are more from a strategy perspective, right? And this platform actually tries to hide or maybe support you with the operational thing that you do not have to worry about, and also some sort of guardrails, like predefined guardrails. You do not have to worry about like defining some guardrails from your own side. So actually these platforms abstract away these operational complexity, as I mentioned, and offered some sort of predefined or pre-configured guardrails. That's very important. Now, for an example, in Fujitsu, let me just take one example. We have something called Fujitsu Kojuchi. It's a cloud-based AI platform where we provide, the advanced AI solution. When I say AI solution, it's not, it's also for software developers or software engineers. So let's say if I want to basically analyze my software, can I do it utilizing the AI? Is it easy for me to do as a developer? Yes, it is very easy. Let's say we are providing APIs, for an example. It's not only about Fujitsu, but anywhere if you have an API and if somebody is developer, they know how to utilize the API. So that's one part of the work. For an example, let's say if you have a reusable component or if you have a reusable framework defined for your organization, so that's also going to basically help not only your organization, that is a global organization, also it is going to help the customer side as well. So that's also one aspect of this globalization part that you are basically referring, like how it can be utilized across the organization or maybe outside the organization with customers. And what I also feel that architectural discipline is also very important. And when I say this, so you have to see like how you are creating basically, or how you are developing something, whether it is a modular based or not. If required, you have to do that. So that's going to actually help you. You have to be something with respect to domain driven design, so that's very important as well. So these are some of the aspects that is going to help you to scale as well, and then basically accepted by people. For an example, you created something, a domain driven thing, as I mentioned. So that can be utilized across that particular domain. Any project that is running around that particular domain, that solution is going to help it. That solution could be scalable because it is defined into such way. It is a component that is available and anybody can utilize it. So developer would be, very happy utilizing such tool or such components if available within the organization to scale it as well. So I feel that these are important aspects, and then federated innovation is also something very important. And right now, the kind of tools that software developers are utilizing, they all have some sort of collaborative kind of nature available there. So federated is very important, like federated learning as well as federated contribution. So both are very important from that perspective. So I feel that such kind of platform or such kind of initiative should be within the organization, where you have components, where you have frameworks. It can be reused, and then it can be scaled according to that. As I mentioned, you should have domain driven design kind of thing. You should have modular architecture or whatever that is required to scale it and also to support your developer. So I feel that these are some of the basics that everybody has to do. And I will stop here and then we'll take any questions in the Q&A side. I am quite observing the time as well.
Right, Amit. And scalability without compromising innovation is indeed the sweet spot for now. So let's shift gears and talk about getting started with AI. For this, Manisha, I'd like you to tell me that if a developer wants to start using AI in their applications, what would be a good and simple starting point for them?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it already, but yeah, GitHub Copilot would be a great way to start, right? Even when the team that I am part of, we build data applications. We used to just write stored procedures, but even in that, right now, GitHub Copilot has become a big thing. So use it as a chat function. Use it, as like a Copilot to code. Start using that. That's basics. There are many others. For example, there's Crew AI, there's AutoGen, right? There's a lot of these agentic workflows available that you could try out. There's low code, no code, options available as well. And apart from that, there are things like the Llama Index, etc., that you should start exploring, I think, right? And as to how you can start using it in your world. So in our case, it is pretty much part of everybody's kitty, right? The Copilot. But the other thing that we've done is we have the AI Developer Studio, right, where we are enabling our developers to go into OpenAI, start accessing it and building your own kind of codes and stuff using OpenAI. And then we also have, while you do all of this, we also have an AI governance council, for example. So any organization that you're part of, which codes, which tools to use, which ones you are supposed to use, which ones you're not supposed to use. Generally, you will have a council or a governance body that you would reach out to, right, to seek help. Right, so do that. And then, the other thing that we found very useful, Kushi, is that we have an AI Academy. So while people are trying out these new tools, there is also an AI Academy that you can be part of, where you can learn. So a lot of courses, lots of things that are being shared across teams. So that's very important. And the final one I take from Sangeetha, right? Like, we are also making it cross-functional. Like Amit said, he's an AI engineer, and Sangeetha said, she's always been a developer. So that's how you have to come together, I think. So you're doing a bit of that through our cross-functional teams as well. So interact, also kind of work with others in other teams to see, how you can co-build. So that's the AI first, way of approaching it if you're just kind of getting started.
Yes, Manisha, and that's a great starting roadmap. It's simple, it's practical, and impactful as well. So moving forward with Prakash, what do you think? How can companies support both full-time developers and non-technical teams like the citizen developers to build useful applications together?
Yeah, that's a very fantastic question. It's very timely and need of the hour where we are in. So what I try to say is the answer lies in the fusion teams. So actually you need a combination of both the full-time developers with the working with the citizen developers who are the business users. You are empowering them into translating them to a power developer. So that is you need a team with both the combination. The reason being, you can't, especially talking from an automation perspective, if you want to scale automations, you need that combination. You can't just scale with only core developers you have, because it's one thing, it is not, business case will not stack up, because it's going to get more expensive, getting more people, more developers to have to be hired. Second is you are also empowering the business team, has the knowledge, the business domain knowledge, the process knowledge. So you empower them with the low-code platforms to convert them as a developer. Then they become, they can create things faster, and with the support from the actual developers, then it becomes a very cohesive way of scaling the automations across the enterprise, across many departments, many business lines, many processes. So that structure is the important thing. So first thing is you need to have that structure, which is enabled by a COE, either a center of enablement or center of excellence, right? That can define the governance, it can define the guardrails, reusable assets to be used for these automations or these solutions, and provide mentorship model. So that is the foundation that we need to have. Then the citizen developers can use the tools and templates they need, that can be provided by the center of excellence. So they can dictate, okay, these are the best practices you have to follow for when you do these automations or create this code. So they can lay it out for professional developers can lay it out for the citizen developers, and the full-time developers can act as a mentor and a reviewer and integrator. So that way they can handhold the citizen developers so that they become, when they get into a problem, they get some help and they learn through that and they are able to do much better the next time. So second thing is we need a shared platform also. So like it could be a Microsoft Power Platform, a low-code platform, or a UiPath intelligent automation platform, or APN or OutSystems, any kind of these low-code platform. You have to select, standardize on one platform where you will be creating these automations or solutions, automating the workflows, where developers will handle the complex integrations safely and securely, and the business users or the power users, they will handle the creation of dashboards or reports or any of those kind of things. So that is a proper mix of duties, segregation of duties between the professional developers and the citizen developers. And finally, you also have to look at governance. So governance is key, because when the business developers are deploying, creating code, that is always a very good chance that they may not be following the best practices. So as a result, it may not be a high quality code. It could have could be using more CPU intensive. It could be using more memory than it needs to be. They may not be closing the memories used properly. So those kind of things, citizen developers. That's why you need a governance in place, so that the code that is created by citizen developers are reviewed, and it's up to the best practices and quality standards, based on which then you can move the code to the development environment, to the production environment, and it will be helpful for the business users. So what I'm trying to say is it's a collaborative model, collaborative building model. So the citizen developers will create the front-end flows, and professional developers will expose the APIs, bots, and the other database logic or any backend integration logic. They will do it. So that way, we have the best of both worlds, and you are able to scale in a very much faster way across the enterprise. So it's not like you start with one low hanging fruit use case, then this model becomes successful, then you can assign more use cases to the business developers, and then you, at the end of the day, you will see at the end of a cycle, you will have lots of automations, hundreds and thousands of bots deployed across the entire enterprise. So that will add to a very high productivity, higher operational efficiency, higher cost saving. It will hit the P&L in terms of cost savings and other things. So that's what I would say. It has to be a combination, a fusion team, a proper mix of both the professional developers and the citizen developers is the need of the hour. So that way, organization can leverage on the experience of the technical experience of the hardcore developers and the business experience of the power users, power developers, and both together can transform the enterprise by way of scaling very high levels of automation.
Right, Prakash, and such collaborative models are becoming essential in today's enterprise landscape as well.
Thank you.
So now let's touch on the kind of culture that drives real innovation. So Sangeetha, what kind of team culture helps developers experiment, take ownership, and also build solutions that really make an impact?
Yeah, sure. So as it's been emphasized by everyone, right? So culture is the key. So it drives us to be more productive, be loyal, and also mainly enjoy and have fun at work, whatever we do. So for all of this, right, so I will only try to highlight few important aspects as part of the team culture. So I'll start with transparency and information sharing. Okay, so transparency with the strategy, vision, tech learnings, technical implementation, everything. So if we have to really talk about the strategy, right? So we have at OpenText periodic all hands from our CEO, periodic all hands from BU leads. So where we hear directly about what are the company's priorities and what is not a priority. So it is really giving a platform for the passionate developers to really think about what is the next research that they can proactively start, okay, depending on the priority. And similarly towards tech learnings and technical implementations, right? So as Manisha and others said, yes, we try to have, we organize basically the tech talks where developers across the organization, across the BUs, across the functions, they share their learnings and best practices. And these topics range from new technologies to challenges resolved during implementation, whatnot, everything. So while transparency is one aspect, the second aspect that really drives the team culture is ensuring and encouraging the participatory culture, which means involving all developers in critical decision making. So having connect with all the stakeholders like product managers, professional services, pre-sales, sales, consultants, and really getting to understand how customer is using and how what all inputs they can give towards a roadmap. The third aspect to look at is, yes, we always talk about delivery, but it is also important to encourage and take pride, right? And also reward all the contributions and also celebrate the customer wins and the rollouts, okay? And the other aspect is providing an environment where the developers can also work on protecting their key work, protecting their innovations. It is nothing but providing a platform for patenting the innovations. Okay, and similarly, the other aspect to look at is investing in customer empathy. So we always say we should think from customer shoes, right? But you see, there should be an environment. It is not always going to the customer and understanding it, right? At OpenText, we have a wonderful ecosystem. So where we have a concept of OpenText plus OpenText. So it is based on the concept that we are not just creators of the cutting-edge software solutions, we are also proud users. So basically, this concept gives an environment for every product to get first-hand feedback from internal customers itself. For instance, so I lead BI products. Okay, the BI, wherever in whichever product there is a requirement for BI, they quickly integrate, take our product and do the integration, and we get the first-hand information and the feedback for all the features that we release. Similarly, we have lot of Gen AI related innovation. So we call with the tag name or the brand name as Aviator. So we have one of that such Aviator, which is actually immediately the day it was built, right? It was immediately deployed on our content management system where all employees engage with that Aviator and they try to leverage it, and we get immediate feedback. So this platform is also very important. And finally, what is the key is encouraging proactive problem solving and also encouraging some side projects on emerging technologies. Okay, so when I say side projects, these are all research projects and emerging technologies. So when we try to do some projects on emerging technologies, right, especially in R&D, experimentation is key. And sometimes we fail. It is okay to fail. Okay, we encourage everyone to learn from the constructive feedback and move forward so that we can see the success. So if I have to talk about the team culture, which is important, the list goes on, but these are top few items I would say that will help developers experiment, take ownership, and build solutions that really make an impact in the industry.
Right, Sangeetha. And you, as you said, that culture is the key. That's truly right, because culture really is the foundation for everything that we build. So now let's move to a final piece of advice. I would like to ask all of you that what advice would you give to developers who want to stay future ready and keep growing in the next few years? Firstly, Amit, I'd like you to take over.
I would ask them to at least try a few things, hands-on, not just theory, and do not chase everything. Whatever is important for them and whatever they like actually. So they should try hands-on on that particular thing. Right now, you have many things available on internet. You can go to open source tool if you want to try something, and try to create something on top of it. For an example, Hugging Face provides data to you. It also provides model to you. And the developer, as I'm mentioning, so developer are also utilizing these tools to innovate within their software engineering tools or software engineering systems. They also want to make their software more intelligent, and they're looking for such tools to integrate it. So before they go and ask their management or their leads, I want to try something. Can they show some sort of quick prototype? And that's going to be helpful to them if they are utilizing such open source platform And also, you have low code, no code kind of platform, just plug and play kind of thing. And you can just show a quick prototype, and then possibly you can convince somebody in the organization. So I would say be hands-on, do not just be theoretical.
Right, Amit. What are your views on this, Manisha?
Very similar to Amit. In our team today, we have people who have adopted AI very fast, right? There's a part of the team that moved ahead very fast. There was a team that was, in two minds, right? Whether do I really need to adopt it? Let me try. Really, does it really work? And there was a third category which said when we kind of pushed them a bit, right, to say, why don't you at least get trained on it? And they said, it's only prompt engineering. All I need to do is write good prompts. I really don't need to do this. So there were these three categories, I think, and the learning really in all of this is that you have to adapt and you have to adopt as well, right? So there are multiple ways. If you are sitting outside, you're outside, where it's all happening. But you want to get in, right? I think the best way is to participate in hackathons. Almost every organization today does give you a platform to Sangeetha's point on R&D, etc. Right? There are many organizations that do that. There are organizations that gives you a sandbox to play around with. So get in, right? In our organization, you almost have to pass a test to get in, right, into that platform, right? So it's become a little more challenging as well. So so that people who are really interested, utilize it. So there's a bit of that culture in terms of you really want to try that next big thing. So participate in these hackathons, utilize the sandboxes that you have. And learn, be part of communities, I think. So adapt. We've had people who's our second generation, I may say, of Gen AI learners, right? And they've already started, we kind of reward them saying, this is how you applied it and it's already generating this kind of impact. So apply it, I think, and I'm sure, your managers, your leaders will love it, right? When you start applying it and showing it. And finally, yes, low code, no code works great. Apply it. You have many options to choose from. For example, even our non-technical, non-AI, non-data engineers use Azure ML Designer. They use the Power Platform, AI Builder, etc. So there's lots of platforms available for you to try the low code, no code. So go for it. Don't sit on the sidelines. I think go for it. There's lots that you can do with it. So that's what I would say, Khushi.
Yes, Manisha. And it's actually something that we're all looking forward to as well. So, Prakash, now I would like you to tell us something about this.
So my view is that it's a dual track, right? So developers all of them need not get into management. They are not going to force feed them into that, because there are two different paths, dual paths. One is management track, one is the technical leadership track. So when you follow the technology leadership track, you will be part of the CTO organization, the chief technology officer organization. So you will have, you don't have to be, now that with the help of AI, you are having a lot of time because you are able to do things faster. The second thing is you can move into the further roles, like how to think like a solution architect. What is the best possible architecture for this problem? What are the different stacks required? What is the there is no one size fits all approach. There could be different types of tech stacks, tools, or platforms required for which could be the best for the business, for the organization. It's not just a technical. Don't look at it as a technical solution. Okay, I have technology, I'm a developer, I'll just give a technical solution. No, that is not how it is going to. The way you to do it is understand the business problem. What is the best possible solution for solving the business problem? There could be 10 solutions, 10 different stacks, 10 different platforms. But what is the best one which will give you the quickest return on investment, which is going to give you the maximum cost savings, where the benefits are higher, where the investment costs are lower. Think about if companies already using a certain platform, then leverage, reuse modular components, leverage those. You have to think in that, where that had, not just I'm a technology, I'm a developer, I will just do only I will give me a problem, I'll give a solution. But there are 10 10 tools can do the same thing. But the idea is for the performing organization, if they have to benefit from it, you have to wear the hat from a business angle as well. So that is where I also think they could think about learning some specific domain. So it could be banking, financial, it could be telecom, it could be energy, utilities, it could be aerospace, it could be mining. There are so many 12, 13 sectors, right? So you also learn something about the sector, understand, have some knowledge that will help you when you want to go into the solutioning mode. But without understanding that, you are going to rely on a process SME or a process owner, you won't get enough of their time. And if they make a mistake and then you, based on that, you develop a solution, but later turns out it's not the best possible return on investment, then they will blame it on technology. As I always say, yeah, it didn't give me the ROI, it didn't do it, right? So that's why even AI, 80% of AI projects not giving the return on investment. They are too expensive. It's not achieving the business scenario. So that's where you have to look at what is the best possible solution. Think from a business angle, understand some business domain knowledge as well. With all these things, you will be able to perform a different role than just being a developer who uses AI and creates code. So that's what my take on this.
Absolutely, Prakash. And now, Sangeetha, I'd like to know your views on this perspective.
Yeah, sure. I would like to extend to what Prakash had said. So basically, to achieve all that, we need to have a goal. So either, so basically have a short-term goal or a long-term goal to prepare ourselves. So just having a goal would not be sufficient, right? So we also need to have a plan. So the plan can be like we can take baby steps or big leap depending on the appetite. But what is important is the progress that we are making is important, and the progress that we are making to be relevant in the company and also in the ever accelerating industry, right? So basically, goal is important. And the second aspect I want to really give developers is we need to always be prepared to move away from our comfort zone. That is very important. So if we are a new developer or just started a career with 1 year or less than 3 years experience, so you're already in the trend. And how things work. So basically, you need to understand how they are built. Develop good mix of the other technologies and also the domains. And I think they need to be open enough to adopt legacy skills, because that is where we learn most of the design aspects, okay, from the legacy products. But if you are experienced, maybe from 5 to 7 years or 6 years experience, right? So usually in this situation, we have got to this experience following some structured processes or inspired by our leads or architects. So basically for this group, I would like to say it is important to unlearn things and be unbiased with the past experiences, and be open to quickly learn the adopting technologies, learn in adopting the technologies and also the new domains, which is very key. And for the highly experienced professionals, right? So I think it is important to solve the problem with the latest technologies. And the key thing is we should also learn to embrace a multi-generational work environment, so which is key now, and collaborate on ideas with the team members at all levels. Okay, so these are a few aspects I would give to developers who want to stay future ready and keep growing. Yeah.
Right, Sangeetha. So these has been great takeaways from all of you, because staying adaptable and always learning seems to be the key here. All right, so I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you, our speakers, for such an insightful discussion. It was truly a pleasure to hear your valuable perspectives and learn from your experiences. We won't be able to take up the many interesting questions that we've got from the audience, as we're currently running out of time. So now, towards moving the end, I would like to again thank all our speakers for today's truly empowering and inspiring session. It was an absolute pleasure hosting all of you and having you be a part of this engaging panel discussion. A big thank you as well to our wonderful participants for your engagement. You've played a key role in making this session a great success. The session has been recorded and the recording will soon be available on techgig.com for anyone who would like to revisit the insights that have been shared today. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you all for joining in.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.